Jai Shri Ram. This is a story from the life of Chatrapati Shivaji. In 1663, Aurangzeb sent a huge army under his uncle Shaista Khan to get rid of Shivaji. So Shaista Khan came with a huge army running into several lakhs, and Shivaji's army was just about 10,000 people, 10,000 soldiers. But they were all like commandos anyway. Each one was capable of dispatching any number of Mughal soldiers. So Shivaji quietly retreated into the mountains. And Shaista Khan came to Pune and occupied Shivaji's maternal home, Rangamahal. So Shivaji already studied Mughals very minutely, so he knew his enemy inside out. So Shivaji hatched a wonderful plan. And after a couple of days, in the evening, a marriage procession, 200 men roughly, all dressed up, as old people, young people, and baja, bajantri, and everything. And interestingly, what Shivaji did was, in the front of that marriage procession, he got some of his men to dress up like Mughal soldiers, Mughals, and some 5, 6 fellows, Hindus, dressed up as Hindus, being beaten with whips and all that. So they came close to the Rangamahal, the palace. So right now, Shaista Khan and his men were guarding. Shaista Khan was inside. His son's name Fateh Khan. Fateh Khan also died in this battle. No battle, the fellow was chopped to pieces. So the Mughal soldiers saw that our own people are now thrashing some Hindus, so they were very happy. They allowed the procession to enter the fort, and they all went inside the fort, and they were on this big parade. And after some time, the Maratha captives and the Mughal soldiers, they were all Shivaji's men. They reached a particular spot and they parked there. And around midnight, when these Shaista Khan's men were fast asleep, and it was raining also on that day, I believe it was raining. Slight rain was there. So Shivaji and his men sneaked into the Rangmahal through the kitchen. And some fellows were cooking also there at that time. Now, Shivaji and his men, they went on a rampage. Many fellows died. And because it was dark, the Shaista Khan, this rascal came with a harem, many of his wives. Some women also died. And Fateh Khan, who was in his harem, he also died. He was killed. Shaista Khan tried to jump from the balcony and escape. Shivaji slashed, and Shaista Khan's fingers were cut. Somehow Shaista Khan escaped and ran away. Aurangzeb got terribly angry with this fellow and kicked him and gave him some punishment posting, some remote desert. And in this hullabaloo, people were running helter skelter. Nobody knew what was happening. In the darkness, the Mughal soldiers were attacking each other. So Shivaji and his men were literally, hacking them to death. And there's a huge army. There is, I believe it was nearly 1 lakh, 80,000 to 1 lakh was the size of Shaista Khan's army. So they surrounded this whole fort, and they were now getting ready to capture Shivaji and his men. But this place was centrally located with so many hills in the distance. Shivaji already deployed many of his men, who gathered many cows and buffaloes, and at the right time when the signal was given, when the attack started, they lighted the horns of the cows. Each cow's horns were connected with a mashal, flambeau, kagada in Telugu. In English, flambeau, flambeau means mashal. A piece of wood with a cloth dipped in oil tied in one end and then set alight. Mashal. So set a flame. So Shivaji and his men, from 4 or 5 different directions, many cows and buffaloes, they tied the horns with these flambeaus, and these flambeaus were set alight at a correct time when the signal was received. That is after the attacks commenced. So the Mughal soldiers felt that the Marathas are attacking from all directions. So all the fellows ran away. An army of 80,000 was slaughtered. More than 20,000 people died because Maratha soldiers were hiding in the darkness behind the trees, and wherever they found these fellows, they cut them down to size. More than 20,000 people, I believe, were slaughtered on that day, and the remaining fellows ran for dear life. कितना मज़ा आता है इस कहानी सुनने में. Long, long ago, I read this story, and every time I narrate this story, a joy, a thrill runs through my body. Chatrapati Shivaji, who was actually a vibhuti of Shiva. That means an incarnation, part manifestation of Mahashiva. We should have a statue of Chhatrapati Shivaji in not in every school and every colony. And his personality and the stories about him, so many I know. Jai Shri Ram. I will tell you more in some other recordings. Jai Shri Ram.